The weather looks really nice today and a good chance to do some testing actually with a video and so forth. And what did I read today? How about this first one? You've often heard of, I guess, big drones, but 580,000 pounds? This one's meant for the water, I believe anyways. This one says, DARPA unleashes colossal 580,000 pound spy drone ship. A game changer in global surveillance set to dominate the seas. As it says here, the United States is on the brink of a maritime revolution with the upcoming deployment of a groundbreaking unmanned surface vessel. The USX-Defiant, crafted by the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, represents a leap forward in naval technology, boasting an impressive level of autonomy in both system operations and navigation. As this 580,000 pound vessel prepares for its extensive open water trials, it promises to redefine the future of naval operations and heralds a new era of autonomous maritime capabilities that could have profound implications for defense strategies worldwide. It says the USX-Defiant stands as a testament to cutting-edge innovation designed under DARPA's No Manning Required Ship program. The initiative seeks to challenge conventional naval design by eliminating the need for onboard human presence, resulting in a more efficient and cost-effective vessel. That thought, are people going to start fear-mongering RC toy boats, for example? But yeah, either way, that's going to be a thing of the future with all this autonomous stuff anyways. Although with that thought of autonomous drones, how about ones being used to study animals and so forth? This one says how a new drone system may transform next-gen ecology research. A new autonomous drone system could provide ecologists with deeper insights into animal behavior in the wild. A study suggests drones or unmanned aerial systems are often used to collect massive amounts of high-quality aerial footage of unique places. While most of these state-of-the-art technologies rely on human pilots to operate them, researchers have developed WildWing, a complete hardware and end software open-source UAS for independently collecting dense animal behavioral data. The single drone system, which so far has collected about 37,000 images of various endangered animals, was created to help scientists automate and standardize data for the better behavioral analysis, said Jenna Klein, lead author of the study and a graduate student in the computer science and engineering at The Ohio State University. I mean, that's good and all, in my opinion, using the tech, but remember not too long ago, or still currently, people fear-monger a tech around wildlife and so forth in general. It says animals and their habitats are changing rapidly, so if we want insights about them in real time, remote sensing technologies like drones and AI can play a big part in that, she says. Studying how animals behave in the wild can be challenging, in part due to how disruptive human noise may be to the creatures living in the region. Yet a drone's ability to gather data much more quietly across challenging terrains and completely complex tracking and positioning tasks makes them powerful tools for studying the natural world, said Klein. That's kind of an interesting argument, isn't it, in this case, where they're saying that drones actually make less noise than humans, interfering with, let's just say, animals and all that in that way? Because again, the narrative not too long ago, or still currently, is a lot of people say no flying your drone because it disrupts animals. You have people or whatever walking by and so forth all the time, or I guess like in this case, researchers trying to go right up to them and so forth. I said from day one, and it still stands, it depends on what you're using and how. I can imagine for smaller drones, ones that look like, let's just say, a bird with a camera, for example, that would be a thing. Kind of like in those documentaries where you see they have literally made up like penguins, for example, that are just robots with cameras and they just think it's some regular penguin. I wouldn't doubt that would be the case in the future too, with drone research and all that. And with that thought, actually, in terms of, I guess, research for things like drones and so forth, remember how here in Canada, they wanted to restrict micro drones and stuff from advertised events, and some of you are even wondering how about things like protests and so forth? Well, this wasn't drone related, but this is kind of an example, in my opinion, where by the looks of it, when people don't like people filming like a certain situation, they then use, I guess, the law in a weaponized way, potentially anyways. So apparently there was some kind of protest in Montreal, and there was a bunch of people, I guess, just documenting the situation and all that. Now, I'm not sure why the people that were holding the protest or rally were against people filming it in general, but it seems like from what I saw anyways, they got really aggressive with the people doing, for example, the filming or reporting, if that's what you want to say, as some of them are independent journalists by the looks of it. And afterwards, I guess after all that, apparently the police arrested just the people filming for whatever reason. So apparently it's this person named Natasha Graham, who's apparently known as a Natasha Montreal, and she was arrested during a pro-Palestinian protest. Now, some of the technicalities were, they were saying, for example, she touched the police officer first and all that, but from what I saw anyways, it looked like the police officer kind of touched her first and then she kind of reacted, and then afterwards, I guess, they decided to take her down and all that. So you can see a bunch of clips that I saw personally, and you decide yourself, for example, does it look like they were doing anything wrong per se, or did they just not like it for whatever reason? Funny enough, with these type of protests, even when I go around them here, I still have like a video of it somewhere anyways. If I looked in the archive, they actually encourage people to film it because they want to get their message across. So it makes me wonder, why are they so against it in this regard if that was the case? And at the same time, it makes you think, again, like with that new restriction with drones, for example, around no quote advertised events, how about in this case, where let's just say there are people who just don't like you filming it in general, and then they use the law against you. You may say that may never happen, but I've seen examples before of literally police officers taking people down, just flying drones around certain areas when it's, for example, perfectly legal and all that. So how about in this case? Are you okay with that? I mean, can you imagine that flying, let's say, a really light drone just pretty far away and all that, and you capture the aerial view exactly what went on, who touched who and so forth? Isn't that kind of important documentation in terms of evidence and all that to see who's right and wrong? I mean, in my opinion, I just see more potential abuse of that phrase, for example, advertised event and all that. There's technicalities and all that in terms of how you can still actually get it from a distance and all that, but still, in my opinion, that's troublesome if people could weaponize laws or whatever to say, hey, I don't like you doing it, so I'm going to arrest you and so forth. That doesn't sound right, huh? You could argue, for example, if they're in the wrong, they'll be sued and so forth, but let's be honest, how many people are going to actually do that in terms of challenging some authority figure in that regards if people are right? Most people would just be too scared, correct? All right, see you guys later.